welcome everyone to episode 25 of the COD Casuals. I'm your host, Justin.
And I'm Mike.
How you doing, Mike?
Wonderful, wonderful. We came back from a very nice, much needed vacation.
Yeah.
In the wonderful state of Virginia. So that was fantastic.
Good time.
Yeah, it was great. Hot as all hell, though. Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
Well, the first day was. DC was.
Yeah, it was. It was great. I had never been to DC before. We went with it was me and four other guys, including Justin. So 5 of us total, and I was the odd guy out who hadn't been to DC and experienced everything.
Yeah.
So it was great to see all the sites. I was completely nerding out. I couldn't believe it. We got to see all the sites. We went to the White House.
We did everything in DC.
There's literally nothing we didn't do there.
No, yeah.
Site wise.
For anyone that's been to DC, you know how big it is. Like, we covered a lot. Like, that was my 4th time in DC, so I mean, I've seen all that stuff already.
Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that was like the four of us already.
Yeah.
Like, the other guys, they've been to DC too.
Yeah.
So, like, we didn't get to see like all the Smithsonian. So
yeah.
But that's because they were closed.
Yeah. So you guys had seen everything. I was just kind of hanging around, completely nerding out, having my mind blown, which was awesome. It was. I'll never forget it. It was. So cool.
No, DC's a fun time.
Yeah, and the weather, like I said, it was really hot, but it was pretty good. We went out there to visit our friend. We hadn't seen. I hadn't seen him in over a year. You saw him not too long ago.
Yeah.
So great time. Now we're back to work. So
yeah, DC was a good time. It only got hot and miserable because we were walking for so long.
Yeah, very true.
That was it.
We were hustling around.
Yeah, we walked literally everywhere.
Yeah, got a good workout in.
Yeah,
but plenty of alcohol consumed. Plenty of food consumed.
Yeah.
So it was a very worthwhile trip.
Yeah.
But during the break, we did get to catch a little bit of Call of Duty, get our daily dose of COD because we were off the sticks the entire time.
Yeah. We were there for 4 days, and we were there for the whole major.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but we caught the games. We had the games pulled up like everywhere we went.
Yeah.
So
we were truly nerding it out the entire time.
That was the last major.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, we had to.
You got to. You can't just let this one go. We've watched every one of them.
Yeah.
And this one sure as hell did not disappoint.
It did not disappoint.
Oh my God.
for first major with fans back, and it looked crazy.
Yeah. How amazing was that? It was crazy to see them all there.
Yeah.
Like, shivers up my spine.
Yeah, and I mean, for everyone listening, you already know the results. So congrats to the Minnesota RØKKR for pulling one of the biggest upsets in COD history.
I would say the biggest. Has to be.
In the CDL, I would say the biggest.
Oh, yeah, no question in the CDL.
But I would put it up as one of the biggest.
Yeah, I mean, you think about...
There have been a lot of, like, big runs.
Yeah, there's definitely some recency bias that's going on there.
Yeah.
You know? But it's got to be in the top 5.
It's definitely up there.
For the greatest sweep ever.
Yeah. I think my biggest comeback would be OpTic's winning champs in Infinite Warfare. They came all the way from losers and won 2 series.
Yeah.
2 series in a row. So, but RØKKR, I mean, they should have lost. Everyone said they... Everyone
Even
on Twitter,
we counted them out. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
No, everyone on Twitter was like, this is boring.
Yeah. When does the Major 5 start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. And then all of a sudden, they turned up. So, basically, it was Toronto Ultra versus RØKKR in the grand finals. Toronto Ultra went up 4-0 in the series, and it's a best of 9, so they needed one more map to win. They didn't get that one map.
Yeah. I don't think anybody predicted that was going to happen. Coming out of that, a little backstory, Toronto had played, was it one game prior to that, or did they play 2 games? They played
2.
They played 2 games.
Yeah.
They came out of losers. They played OpTic, and they played, who else did they play? They played RØKKR. They lost to RØKKR. Yeah, they played. Yeah, okay.
That's what it was. And then they went to losers and played OpTic, and then went back and played RØKKR.
Yeah. So the main games on Sunday though were OpTic playing twice, and then they unfortunately got eliminated, which we'll get to later. But Toronto, they played OpTic on Sunday, beat them 3-1. They looked great, and then carried that momentum right into the grand finals.
And beat RØKKR.
Yeah, to try to beat RØKKR.
Yeah, try to beat
They
RØKKR.
tried to.
They almost did.
Yeah,
they couldn't close it.
It was shocking. RØKKR, apparently they hadn't played since Saturday. Their last game was against Ultra. They 3-0'd them, and that just secured their grand final. So they had to wait all of Sunday while Ultra was getting hot. And apparently the RØKKR was scrimming some of their team. They were scrimming the coaches and stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
That sucks.
Yeah, for people who don't know, that's not good competition.
Yeah.
There's a massive gap between us being casuals and people who are amateurs and those who are just, on the coaching staff or whatever. You can't compare to real life games, and professionals.
And if anyone's questioning why they scrimmed coaches or practice against them, is because they're in the grand finals and all the other teams got knocked out already. So they're not there's no reason for them to play.
Yeah.
If they went and practiced with them, that other team's doing that just to be nice.
Yeah.
To help them.
Exactly.
But I get why they had no practice, which sucks. But imagine being a team knocked out. And you're I don't want to play.
Yeah, no way.
They all sat with the fans and
exactly.
watched. You don't want to scrim in the back. You want to sit with all the fans and watch the games.
Exactly. So RØKKR was at a real disadvantage, which has been a whole debate this year about
that argument of, is it a disadvantage or is it an advantage, being in securing first seed?
Exactly, yeah. Starting off in winners bracket and making a run through winners.
Yeah.
Because those who don't know, if you're in winners, once you get to the grand finals and you secure that, you don't play for a bit. And then while that's going on, like we said, the other two games prior to the grand finals, those are all occurring in losers bracket. So, think about if OpTic, in a perfect world, if OpTic went and won, they won the first game against Dallas. If they win against Ultra and then they go and play RØKKR, that's two games that they are hot and they're just back-to-back games constantly going. People believe that that's a huge advantage. You're playing the game, you've been playing hard competition, and you're hot, you're warmed up. Because we know from playing, even just playing casually, your first game on is more than likely not going to be your best game. It's just that's the way it is.
Yeah, you're not going to be hot right off the bat.
Yeah, it's always when you when you make pancakes and you make the first pancake and it always turns out like shit.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. Yeah. It's the first one always a dud.
Yeah, you have to go and get your shot warmed up.
Yeah. So they, even with that Ultra, when they came into that RØKKR game, they looked crazy.
Yeah,
it was really bad to watch. The viewership definitely took a dive.
Yeah.
Especially when they went up 4-0.
Yeah. It's like the Super Bowl with Patriots versus the Falcons.
Yeah.
And the Patriots were getting stomped, and everybody started leaving. All the Patriots fans were leaving the arena.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they started coming back, and fans tried coming back in, and they couldn't.
Yeah, right? Can you imagine that? You're about to witness history, watch one of the greatest games ever, and it's well, you didn't believe in it.
Yeah. It's never chalked.
Yeah. That is the words to live by.
Yeah.
In Call of Duty and in life too.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many people who, when Ultra won that last game to go up 4-0, thought that RØKKR was going to win.
Yeah.
I was listening to a couple other people talk about it. Definitely people were thinking that after the next game that they played, which I believe was Miami Search.
Yeah.
They played a Miami Search, and they looked really good.
Yeah.
They beat Ultra pretty convincingly. Even then, I remember when we tweeted it out, if you were keeping up with it, that's a long road. They got the first map win, which is good. It's 4-1, but they've got to go and win 4 more games.
Yeah.
That's a tough road.
We've mentioned it before, COD is so momentum based, but as soon as they got that one win, they got their confidence back.
Yeah.
And then, you get your second win, you get your third win, and then you're tied up already.
Yeah.
And now Ultra's nervous. You can't, they're like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tied up now. We're we don't have a lead anymore. We have to close this out. And then RØKKR, they're hot. They don't care.
Yeah.
They're laughing, having fun. But it was funny because they're down 4-0, 0-4, and Attach was smiling and laughing on
I saw that
stage.
too.
I was like, damn. You're not down?
You would think, right?
Yeah.
But I think part of that, and I listened a little bit to Zuma and in his post interview, Attach. Shout out to Attach, absolute beast.
Yeah.
Menace, phenom, the whole team.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, like we were down. Like, but at that point we were just like, let's just go out and do it. Like we got nothing to lose. Like if we get swept and smoked, so be it. It happens, right? Like I think anybody, even if we were speaking in another world where Ultra did just get the 5-0 victory or some sort of win there, everyone's still gassing up RØKKR for how good they looked. You know, because nobody, I don't think, expected them to come out and get second in the major.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you heard in their comms, like Major Maniac, he was bringing the passion into it.
Yeah,
all these call-outs, and you know, as soon as they got one, like they knew. Yeah, because the first 4 games they weren't close,
not even
at
close.
all. Like
no,
none of them were.
Maybe
close.
the hard point at one of the raid hard points was within like 60 points, 70 points. But even still, that's not
a hill
compared to the first hard point that they played on. I think it was Checkmate.
Yeah, Checkmate.
They got giga fried.
They lost by over 200 points.
Yeah, like it was a blowout.
Yeah, and like all the search wasn't close, like at all. The control wasn't close. I think they got like 3-1 or 3-0'd.
Yeah,
in this control, and then you know they got the Miami search, and that's when everything changed.
Yeah, I mean their first game was 250 to 34.
Yeah,
6-1 in search. Then they got 3-1 in control, and then the last game that they won, Ultra won, was 250-194.
Yeah,
hard point.
Yeah,
which that was like okay, like they're kind of showing some life. And then after that, that Miami search, they got 6-3.
Yeah.
RØKKR did. We're like, okay,
yeah,
starting to look decent. Then they got the 3-1 control. Like, okay. Then they got 2-6 control or 2-6 search. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
Then they won the Apocalypse hard point.
That one made me nervous because that was like the changing point.
Yeah,
it was like
that was it.
If they get this, they're good.
Yeah, and they almost 100-point clubbed them.
Almost
250, 165.
Yeah, and they were down too.
Yeah, they were.
So
yeah, at that point, Ultra. I mean, even prior to that, I'm sure they were losing composure, getting nervous about it. How can you not?
Yeah.
And Ultra, RØKKR at this point is like, man, who cares? Like, let's keep doing it. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
You're up 4-0. Like, that's a lot of space to screw up.
Yeah.
A lot. Of space and like time to just screw up. It's all right.
Yeah, because you would see Ultra after that hard point when they lost that, they weren't like, let's go. Like, they weren't like super amped anymore. They were like, they knew in their heads like, all right, like let's.
Yeah. And Standy, he was going off.
Oh my god,
he went off.
We can't give this man enough praise.
Yeah, Priesta fried.
Yeah,
he turned up. Priesta, for anyone listening, last year he was on FaZe, and he didn't play as well, or at least to his expectation, because you got a Beezy and Simp like on that team just frying
powerhouses.
Yeah, but and in Black Ops 4 with 100T, he fried in that game, and ever since then it was kind of like, where's that Priesta?
Yeah,
and he showed up this major.
Oh yeah,
he cooked.
Yeah, he definitely showed up. Him and Major Maniac, especially in that search. I mean, his stats didn't look too great, if I remember correctly, but there was a lot of massive plays that he had on the map.
A lot of intel.
Yeah. I mean, just amazing stuff out of them. And of course, in the search and destroy, they ended it on raid. Yeah. And RØKKR just closed it out, and they looked like the greatest team right now.
Yeah. And Major Maniac, he was on the roster originally.
Yeah.
And then he got dropped.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
He got benched for Standy.
Yeah.
And then Accuracy, Lamar,
happy birthday to him, by the way.
Yeah. He was starting, and then they made the decision to bench him, start Major Maniac. The right decision, as it looks like.
Yeah, right. Now it looks like the right decision. RØKKR's just been one of those teams where they're strange. They're like Seattle Surge. They have such good players on the team, but they just never get to where you think they should be. I mean, granted, RØKKR does a lot better than Surge. Yeah. Which we'll talk about Surge later because they did a lot better. But RØKKR just looked like one of those teams where they've got all the right players. They just, and we've heard it from so many
Yeah.
pros. There are only a couple little mistakes that
Yeah.
they need to fix.
Yeah.
And they're right up there, and
I mean,
they fixed them.
at this point in the year, like, you can argue that definitely about the majority of the teams. Like,
Yeah.
they're right there. They're all so close because
Yeah.
of what. Now, with that win, RØKKR was they're in 6th place, and they moved up to 5th or something.
Yeah, I had to go see if I can find that where they are in the standings.
But
right
but
now.
they moved up, right? And
They did.
But now, so you can argue like, all right, FaZe, really good team. Empire, really good team. OpTic, really good team. Subliners, they dropped off
big time.
big time, and now you got to throw ultras in there, and now you have to throw RØKKR in there.
Yeah,
That's like, no, that is half of the teams going to champs
yeah.
that are all that close.
That's more than half. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the only 2 teams that we haven't seen too much light out of as of late was Mutineers. They were pretty disappointing, and Thieves.
Yeah, but we've seen Thieves beat OpTic,
Yeah.
and Mutineers, we've seen them beat Empire.
Yeah.
So,
it
who
really
knows?
makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got freaking Seattle Surge beating FaZe.
Yeah, we can go to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's
What the hell? What the hell was that? Like, that made no sense. I mean, like, on land, like, obviously it's different, and everybody that was saying land's not different, clearly it is.
right.
It is. Like, and Octane, he was definitely one of those guys that he hyped it up a lot, but, like, he backed up his point a lot.
Yeah.
Because he fried. Pristini fried, too.
Yeah. No, it's unbelievable. They just it's frustrating because this whole year, obviously because of COVID and everything, it's been online. And Seattle, the first major that they played, Major 4, there still were no fans. Like that was my whole thing. Just maybe being naive. I felt like it was a little bit different, but not that much different being on land without fans.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point you play on land is you want the crowd roaring and going off.
Yeah.
In my opinion, watching it. Because at that game, FaZe versus Seattle, man, no one was cheering for FaZe.
Yeah.
Like there were no FaZe fans there.
Yeah.
I mean,
or I'm sure there were, but
yeah, they were getting drowned out by by the surge there, because they were just such an underdog, and I can't remember what game they won prior to that.
Seattle.
Yeah, they won a game prior to FaZe.
They beat Ravens.
Yeah, so that's what's been so interesting about them is they've done okay. Well, the first game they beat Paris. That was their first game on Thursday. Then Friday they 3-0 London, and then they get the 3-2 over FaZe.
Yeah.
So that was what was the deal in Major 4 is they beat like Paris and London and they looked good, but it's Paris and London. No disrespect, they're just not quite there.
Yeah, bottom tier teams.
And everybody thought, man, they're gonna get like, okay, FaZe is gonna go and face off against OpTic. We're gonna get FaZe OpTic.
Yeah.
No one was counting in Surge at all.
Yeah, not at all. And FaZe made mistakes, obviously,
For sure.
but
They threw it hard.
you can't discredit anything that Seattle did because they took down the best team in the game.
Yeah, I mean that's like we hear it all the time, and with a lot of teams, and whether it's in Call of Duty or it's in other pro sports, it's like the better team is able to capitalize on those mistakes and exploit them.
Yeah,
and Seattle Surge definitely did that. FaZe made mistakes, and they did not let them get away with them. They punished them for it.
Those guys are all veterans. Like they've been there before, right?
Yep.
Same with everyone on FaZe. They all played on land in front of crowds before too. But Octane, I would say, is definitely one of those guys. He definitely talked about land a lot.
He did.
And he said land is different and still not an excuse for how like they played because, all the other teams played online and they played well.
Yep.
But it's definitely a difference. And they proved that.
Yeah, and especially too with, like I mentioned previously, having the crowd, everyone was going crazy for Seattle Surge. Like anytime Classic, I mean, any guys on the team, they would get kills or get some, like a couple two pieces or have some advancement. They were going crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And
that's hard to play against if you're FaZe.
Very hard to play against. Yeah.
Where you're playing and you're like, you can kind of hear the crowd and you're like, man, no one, like you get killed.
Yeah.
And the crowd's like, yeah. Like
Yeah.
they're freaking out when you die.
Yeah.
Because they want you to die. It's
Yeah.
like, oh man.
So Champs is gonna be interesting because, like, I mean, we don't really know who's gonna win.
No, we have
Like,
no
if
idea.
you go off stats and points, like FaZe should win,
Yeah.
but they just got knocked out.
The number 1 team just got knocked out of the Major 5
Mm-hmm.
by the number 12 team.
Yeah, and if you look at the standings now, RØKKR went from dead last to 9th
Yeah.
just from that major. Matt,
Oh, you
like-
mean Surge?
yeah, Surge.
Yeah.
Yeah. They went from dead last to 9th
Yeah.
from that one major.
Exactly. They went off because the rest of the teams like Ravens, LAG, Paris, they didn't win anything.
Yeah.
Like their journey was pretty short.
Yeah. You imagine like Seattle? I mean, it was mathematically impossible for them to make it to champs because even if they won the major, they still wouldn't make it in, right?
Yeah, no, they
But
wouldn't.
the fact that they had one really good major and they made it to 9th,
Yeah.
one place away. So champs is gonna be interesting because at this like point, like Seattle can beat anyone. They beat FaZe.
Yeah.
They can beat anyone.
Yeah. No, that's what is. It's disappointing too. I mean, I get it because they didn't get enough points throughout the regular season to compete.
Yeah.
But you got to think like what could have been
Yeah, exactly.
if they were competing because the other teams didn't show as much life. But who knows if they would show up at a certain moment. But Surge got to play with fans there,
Yeah.
and that definitely was a big thing.
Yeah. And like I know everyone has been discrediting Surge, but like if you look at the players on those teams, like it just doesn't make sense why they didn't mesh online. You know?
Yeah.
Cuz if you gave me Surge or like against the Mutineers or something, like I would say Surge would make it to champs over the Mutineers.
Yeah.
Just looking at that team. They should.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
But you know, they didn't pull it together.
It didn't
It
happen.
didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean that FaZe game, breaking it down like a little bit, everything was pretty cool. I remember Surge won the first game and I was shocked. In 250 to 174 hard point, I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" And everyone was like, "What is going on?" Like
Yeah.
Lando was losing it; he couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Then they got absolutely smoked in Surge.
Yeah.
2-6. I'm like, oh geez. Then they got smoked in Control, and then
Yeah.
they walked it back. They won 2 in a row. That last Search was,
Yeah.
I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was just amazing. Like the master class that they put off in
Dude.
Classic.
Yeah.
That guy went off.
Went off.
he went
went
cool.
off.
Yeah. He's been just underperforming all year online. When it's LAN, the man shows up.
Yeah.
Put him in
Dude,
the dirt.
That guy, I mean, he was matching Simp and Abizi.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for anyone that doesn't know about Classic, literally he just runs.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't care how many times he dies. He's just going to keep running at
Yeah,
you.
he's the entry man.
Yeah. And,
Of all entry men.
yeah. And that's why, like, Abizi is amazing because he does the same thing, except, like, he usually wins his gunfights right away.
Yeah.
But Classic, like, you can tell every time he dies, it does not affect him.
Yeah.
He's a stone wall.
Yeah.
He just keeps running.
Yeah.
And obviously, Simp and Avizi made like mistakes because they lost.
Yeah, of course.
But that was a great win out of Surge. It was Pristini against his brother Arcides.
Yeah.
And Arcides lost again.
The storyline. Yeah. For those who haven't really been following throughout all the CDL since it started, Pristini has beat Arcides
Twice.
Yeah. Anytime they've competed against each other on LAN, he's beat them.
In the CDL.
Yeah, the CDL at least. Yeah.
I had like a major tournament.
Yeah.
Because
Now-
last year, Arcides was on the
Huntsman.
Chicago Huntsman. And that was a big matchup.
Yeah.
And Pristini was on the Mutineers at that time. And, you know, it was a rivalry. Brother versus brother.
Yeah.
And Huntsman should have beat
Yeah.
the Mutineers, and they lost.
They did.
You know, and Pristini, he did it again to his brother.
Yeah, I remember he yelled across. He was like, "You need me.
Yeah.
You need me." And sure enough, this was a time, this game, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be Arcides who's gonna be the one saying that."
Yeah.
And somehow they pulled it out.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to feel too for FaZe, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's devastating. And they've got to look back on what went wrong. I don't really know what you do. I don't know if you look back on what went wrong in that game or if you just chalk it up and be like, all right, like we can't worry about it. Like we got to just keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Just with Ultra.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, obviously they made mistakes. They know they're better than that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how that team is, you know, or how those guys are, but from what I've seen, like those guys, they know they can do better, so they're really hard on themselves. So, dude, when they like, I can imagine like in comps, like they chalk it up like fast.
Yeah.
You know, like when they start losing and they're in the cycle, they're like, oh man. And when that confidence is low, it's over. It doesn't matter what player you are.
No, it doesn't. I mean, they were devastated when they lost, and they should be. You know, it's a tough loss, especially when everything that they go into, they're expected to win.
Yeah.
There's never a series or a major where people are not like, oh yeah, FaZe is not going to win.
Yeah.
You know, like they're definitely going to be in the top 3.
Yeah.
If not, like they're going to be winning the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I had FaZe winning this major.
Yeah. And I mean, they should have won that match, right?
Yeah.
But like, we don't know what happened. Obviously, they made mistakes, but I mean, Abizi and Simp, they could have just lost full.
Yeah.
Everyone on that team could have just lost full, and then the team collapsed.
Yeah. And then a little bit with that too, like Seattle, they looked pretty good against OpTic their next game.
Yeah.
Like they didn't get smoked by them. They lost in a game 5.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think a big part of it is Octane. When he's on LAN, that dude, I mean, his nickname is a human turret, like for a reason.
Yeah.
Because he just stays there. Like he does not miss his shots. And imagine fast players like Abizi and Simp. Like if you're running at him with the sub, like Octane's just going to be there waiting for you.
Yeah.
Just ready.
Yeah. He's got to be an annoying player to play against.
Yeah. Just him like anchoring down.
Yeah. No,
and
for sure.
For anyone that like doesn't know, when you're on LAN versus online, there's a lot of things you can get away with online, like slide canceling around a corner and like killing an AR.
Yep.
And the AR doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've witnessed that. Anybody that plays public matches, like you get those kills where like you should have killed them.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. You were just shooting potatoes out of your gun.
Yeah.
Like it made no sense.
Yeah. Straight peas.
Yeah.
And it's like you and I do it a lot. I've definitely been doing it a ton where like I'll shoot someone and I turn because I'm like, oh, he's dead. Because I know how many bullets it takes.
Yeah.
And then the person's not dead and I have to turn back.
Yeah. That'll happen and it'll cost you too.
Yeah.
And especially in this realm, like can literally flip the game.
Yeah. But on LAN, like your bullets are gonna hit.
Yeah.
They're all gonna connect.
Yeah, you're on the same connection, you're on the same platform. It's all gonna be the same.
Yeah. And if you got Octane holding like a heady, you can't just slide cancel out and get him.
Yeah.
That's gonna be really hard.
Yeah. And that was like OpTic came across that quite a bit in their game. You know, they had a really grueler, like looking at the map count and everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, just how close these maps were. The only thing that was kind of close, or wasn't close, rather, was the control that OpTic won. Mm-hmm. That was it. Everything else was pretty close. The first hard point was within like 70 points. Mm-hmm. The search was in round 11. And then the last search is where OpTic closed it out 6-2. And they looked great. And then they moved on to face Dallas. And same thing. They looked really good against Dallas. I was amped.
Yeah. And since we're talking about OpTic, they played fantastic. Besides, losing to Ultra, but they finished third this major, highest placing that they've placed all year. But they keep improving.
Yeah,
every major. It was tough to see, but honestly, I am glad they didn't play RØKKR because if OpTic went up 4-0 and that happened to them,
I'd have been devastated.
The amount of hate they would have gotten versus the amount of hate Ultra got wouldn't even compare. Yeah, would not even compare.
No. Yeah, OpTic would have been shunned forever.
Oh, forever, yeah.
I mean, and just for those players, too.
Yeah.
It would have been a really bad scene.
It would have been, really bad.
Yeah.
Because, man, like OpTic already, they got a lot of hate already because they lost to Ultra. And, all the fans were just attacking them. They were like, it's LAN. You guys are supposed to be playing better, Right. They all made mistakes.
That stuff, yeah.
If you look at stats, clearly, like, there were players that didn't play as well as others, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, throughout that series, I mean, the last control that they played, they should have performed a lot better, but I think Formal just had a really bad game. He just was not playing as well as he should have.
Yeah,
that last
game.
control.
Yeah.
He wasn't up to snuff, which is tough.
Yeah, I think he went like 5 and 28 or something like that.
Yeah, something pretty tough.
And that Formal doesn't do that.
No,
That doesn't. And everyone else on his team had double-digit kills, so that was really hard to see. But they got one more. A lot of these teams, they have one more, and they keep getting closer. Again, like we say this every single time, but like every team has been making small mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? And OpTic could win, Empire could win. Any of these teams could win if they just fix those small mistakes.
Yeah, and at that level, like we said, it was the same thing with Surge and FaZe.
Yeah.
It's like just the small mistakes, and these teams are so good that they can capitalize on those small mistakes.
Yeah.
Especially when they're on LAN and they've got crowd support and things are going. Man, the pressure's on.
Yeah.
And those moments can happen, and then you get these crazy games like Surge knocking out FaZe, and then you've got like RØKKR doing the most fugazi reverse sweep of all time, where Ultra literally just blows it.
Yeah, people act like Octane and Pristini and Classic and Gunless are all just bad players.
You're crazy.
Yeah, they're making small mistakes, and these guys are all veterans. They're gonna capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're not meshing well together this year, but you saw what happened.
Yeah.
They beat FaZe.
Yeah. I mean, that's not many teams can say that.
Yeah.
I mean, their record speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was good to see OpTic. They got third place in it, so it's their best placing. It's still just tough to see them fall short.
Again, yeah.
Just fall short of the major. But that's what the champs are for. That's what they've got.
It's we're OpTic fans, obviously, but it happens.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be a fan of whatever team you are. Like, if you're an Ultra fan, I mean, you gotta stick with them.
Yeah,
that's the way it goes. Your team is not going to win all the time. It's just it can't happen. It's not possible.
Yeah, you get knocked down, you keep moving forward.
Exactly. And they looked good. Ultra just looked better.
Yeah.
And there were some small mistakes, like we saw on Twitter. They were talking about it. How they threw some maps and all that. It's going to happen.
Yeah. If some small mistakes were fixed, like the first map, OpTic lost 250 to 245.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
If someone won one more gunfight, it could have changed everything.
Yeah. And then you're talking about a game 5 search.
Yeah. Exactly.
So if they win that potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank God they didn't go to the grand finals and that happened to them.
Yeah, that would have sucked.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I remember we were saying, like, when Ultra went and played RØKKR and they went up 3-0, we were like, really? This is going to be the grand finals, and OpTic could have been there.
Yeah.
I'm glad they weren't there
because
of that.
Yeah, it's hard not to talk about it. It's hard not to just keep going off about it, because even the casters, like Maven and Joe, they were swearing, like, I'm fucking loving this.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. We live for this shit.
It was crazy.
Hilarious. Fines.
Those guys were bringing that energy at home.
Yeah.
They weren't even casting live.
Yeah.
Like in person. Like, that would have been crazy.
Oh my God. That would have been, I couldn't even imagine, electric.
Yeah.
Just being there. The word.
Oh, next year we'll be there.
Yeah.
And so there's Champs is left, right? It's only 3 weeks away from the time we're recording this. It's August 19th to the 22nd.
Mark your calendars.
Yeah, that's a big day.
Yeah.
Big weekend, too. So that Champs that weekend, it's like first place gets like 1.5 million. Second place gets 900,000.
I think
third place gets 750.
Yeah, let me go see if I can pull it up. I'm not too sure.
It's something like
They're
that.
making.
Yeah, those are some pretty accurate numbers I threw out there.
Bang.
So
no,
like, I think that's it.
Yeah, no, you're definitely like right around where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're making tons of bank. It's gonna be. It's where the cash lies.
Yeah.
It's what you all play for.
But if you're gonna lose a major, you'd rather lose that than lose at Champs, right?
Yeah.
If you win at Champs, like, you're making more money than all the majors combined.
1.2 for first place.
1.2?
Yep.
Oh, damn, the prize pool's smaller.
Yeah.
The fuck?
1.2. Second place is 650K, and then third place is 300.
Oh, wow.
That's what it says right now, at least, if I'm looking at this.
Smaller this year? I swear, like, last year it was bigger.
I am.
Because I thought Empire, they got 1.5 last year.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
On there.
I mean,
Shrinking. Not
not
making
good.
enough cash.
it's not good.
No, not good, not good. But yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I mean, I hope OpTic. I mean, of course, we're big fans of them. We hope that they pull it out and they get that win. Because at the end of the day, no one gives a damn if you've won those majors.
Yeah.
If you lose,
You need the ring.
yeah, that's what everyone. No one's ever gonna care. Or I said like they'll care in the stat line, but people won't care as much about those wins as they'll care about it if you can say like I'm a world champ. That's what everyone cares about. You know, like no one talks really about how many championships Clayster has on the subliners. Everybody knows that he has 3 rings. Like
Yeah.
that's what you know about him.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, so far the only games that are really set in place for COD Champs is Minnesota RØKKR versus Dallas Empire. That's the first game, which is Thursday, the 19th. I mean, man, you gotta put RØKKR in that one. You got to. They're the reigning champs.
Yeah,
they're
they
looking
just
like
won.
the best team in the world.
Yeah.
And then there's gonna be subliners versus OpTic. I mean, man, you gotta go with OpTic on that
Yeah,
one. Subliners are looking rather rough right now. You know, it's not looking good for those guys. Which is difficult because they were looking so good not too long ago. And now with Clayster out, like we've mentioned before, they've got DiamondCon in, and they looked okay this major. Like, you know, like not horrible. I mean, horrible compared to how they would normally have placed with Clayster, but just not quite where everybody would expect them to be. Being a top 5 team, they were not there.
Yeah. And, you know, Clay's done for the rest of the year.
Yeah, no question, he's done.
But, you know, we only got a few more weeks left before COD Champs, and then, you know, the year's over.
I know,
And
right?
we completed a whole year of this podcast
I know. It's amazing.
through season 1.
It feels like we
War.
just started.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
does. It feels like we've only been doing this for a couple of weeks, but
Yeah.
here we are saying episode 25. I'm like, what?
Yeah. And then we go into the off season, and it's a long off season. I hope they fix it. They probably won't, because there's just a bunch of things happening in the background with the CDL, but because the games are probably going to start the beginning of January.
Yeah.
Within January. Whatever the new COD is, but we're going to have like a few months of just shooting the shit.
Yeah, which I can't wait for.
Talking about rumors, new COD, you know.
Our COD experience, wrapping it up on Cold War,
Yeah.
you know, which
Yeah.
it'll be fun.
We're not going to be done until we hit 1,000.
Yeah, we can't, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's so stupid right now, man, is with, if we're shifting gears a little bit, you know, talking about public matches, like, they're in we're in season 4 right now for it, I believe.
Season 4? Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And we're on the grind right now, but then there's going to be, I think 2 more seasons.
Yeah. So 2 months?
Yeah.
2 months? Yeah.
It's like, man, release that stuff. Get me going already.
Let me get to...
Like I need to
max
get
prestige.
exactly. I need to be on the hustle.
Yeah.
You can't stop that game if I'm not 1,000.
Yeah. We have so many double XP tokens.
Yeah.
Like, we've been hoarding them.
Yeah.
We don't use any
Like
of them.
psychopaths.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally just gonna explode all of them once we hit 200.
Yeah.
You know, and just like strategically use them when there's double XP weekends.
Yeah.
As best we can.
Yeah. And we played yesterday after, like, our 4-day break.
Yeah.
And the first game we fried. That was a good game.
Yeah. Totally contradicting what I said earlier about, oh, yeah, you start off, you know, you're cold. Man, we
Yeah.
started off, we were frying.
Well, that's because we watched the CDL.
Yeah, I was going to
That's
say.
like...
That's an elite. That's an elite status tip.
Watch
right there.
professionals play. You're gonna play amazing.
Yeah, literally. We just watched the car ride was 10 hours.
Yeah.
And from 3 o'clock up until 8 o'clock. So we watched 5 hours of COD in the car.
Yeah.
And then when we got back home, we were still watching it because that's when the Minnesota game was just about wrapping up.
Yeah.
And it was getting really hot. So we just watched the greatest players of all time and the most amazing comeback we've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah.
So you're already like you know how to play the game.
Yeah. And then we were like going in, we were playing like we were playing that champs.
Legit.
We were playing in that major.
I'm jump shotting everywhere. I'm like, we're doing call outs, wired in.
Yeah.
It was nuts. Yeah, that first game in Control, I dropped 70 plus. You dropped 50 plus.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, first game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went off.
Yeah. And I mean, we're gonna get back on the 6th tonight, so that'll be fun. Back in the routine of playing.
Yeah, thank God. We missed it desperately.
Yeah. And for the players, at least, like they have this week off.
Yeah.
Because of the major, and then they got 2 weeks till champs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically another. They have the week off, and then the week after that is nothing, and then the week leading into champs is playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be playing then, but for seeding for champs.
Yeah. So we get to see how all the bracket ships out, and how these teams place. And obviously, we're just gonna have the favorites. I mean, that's like the top teams that have been playing well: Dallas, RØKKR, OpTic, and FaZe, and Ultra too.
Yeah,
those are the teams we're always going to be pulling for. I really hope we see a big resurgence from Ultra.
Yeah,
and that this L doesn't take him down that bad. Because it's a really tough one to recover from, man. Brutal.
Yeah. And those guys were down bad.
Yeah.
Like you looked at them, they were like nearly crying.
Yeah. I think they might have been. I don't blame them.
Yeah, because they completely threw that.
Yeah,
they had it in their hands and they just tossed it.
Yeah.
So I mean, they know they're better than that. They know they should have closed that out like 5-0.
Yeah, exactly. They know it should have been a 5-0.
Yeah.
But that, like with anything, that's definitely a learning experience.
Yeah.
Something like that happens to you. Now they know that they can never ever take their foot off the gas.
Never let up.
You can't.
Yeah.
Because you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
Like we say it all the time, and it's so true, and everyone will agree. COD is very momentum based. Like once Attach and RØKKR, they got that game, they got that first win. They're like, and they beat them badly. They're like, we got this.
Yeah.
Like we can beat these guys.
Next game.
And they just turn up, and Ultra just can't keep up, and it's just this constant decline in Ultra's ability and incline in their ability.
It's never chalked.
Yeah,
never chalked.
Yeah, it is never chalked. Man, every game we're going to play now, if we're down 0-2 and we're getting fried, I'm literally going to be like, man, it's never over.
Yeah. No, it is never over.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, those guys, like, they're playing from game to game, right? So a lot of it's just very momentum-based.
Yeah.
But, like, imagine Ultra, like, the emotions, like, going on in their heads. The thoughts. They're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
We just lost one. We're good. We still have, like, a 3-map lead. Like, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Then you lose another one. And then you're like, all right, it's all right. We still got a 2-map lead. Then you lose another one.
Yeah.
You're like, guys.
Another one.
We're about to lose full.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no. You're already losing full at that point.
But, hopefully RØKKR, Ultra, they realize that. I'm sure they realize that. Just go back to the drawing board. Fix it for champs.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd rather lose that. Imagine them losing that at champs.
Yeah, you never recover from that.
Yeah, never. Like,
but at a major, it's whatever.
Scammed.
Yeah, but at a major, they've won a championship this year. RØKKR haven't. And the thing that was really cool throughout the whole thing, and my favorite thing about it, is just having fans back, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it
crazy.
It was the best thing in the world, just having some fans there to just drive everything forward.
Yeah.
I mean, that last series with RØKKR, I haven't heard that much support for a team in a long time. Like, other than with OpTic, which is always expected.
Yeah.
Man, people were losing their minds what they were doing at that moment.
It's funny because, like, everyone that goes to those events, like, I would say the majority of them are OpTic fans, but a lot of them too are they're just fans of the CDL, fans of COD.
Yeah.
Because there are people wearing OpTic jerseys, rooting for RØKKR, and like just screaming. We want good competition.
Yeah.
And we got really, really good competition.
Yeah. That's all you want at the end of the day,
Put on a show.
Yeah. Like, this would have been a really bum major, like a really bad way for it to end if Ultra 5-0'd them.
Yeah.
That just would have been like, well, that was a terrible major.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Ultra did their job and they look insane.
Yeah. Ultra would be happy.
Yeah, Ultra, that'd be picture perfect.
Yeah.
But for the fans, you'd be like, oh, man, that was just so boring. Like, they got absolutely curb stomped. But they started getting the momentum. People rooting against Ultra. They're the favorites. People want the underdog win.
Yeah.
And they pulled it out, and it was amazing. It was the same thing, just like with Surge and FaZe. Same thing.
Yeah.
No one's got any hate against FaZe, but people want those underdogs. They want those crazy storylines, and that's what this whole major was filled with.
Yeah, COD is just it's full of storylines. That's why so many people fall in love with the CDL.
Yeah.
The players, the storylines, like all the drama.
Yeah.
It's like the NBA if I had to compare it to like another sport.
Yeah. And that's why we love it too.
Yeah.
You know?
And we should definitely do a recap of like all the teams after champs to see, you know,
Where they stand.
where they're all at, what they should do, things like that. You know,
Yeah.
give our opinions on it because I mean, I'm excited for this championship.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. How
'Cause-
can you not be?
8 teams and more than half of them could potentially win it.
Yeah.
And they've shown that they can win it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, Empire took FaZe to map 9
Yeah.
and FaZe got knocked out by Surge, you know. OpTic, they're slowly getting better. I mean, they've beaten like, you know, top teams before.
They 3-1 Dallas.
Yeah. Ultra, you know, they've won a major. RØKKR, they just pulled off like an insane reverse sweep.
Yeah.
Like, who knows
Yeah.
at this point?
They're all looking really good, so it's going to be good stuff. It's going to be exciting, and look forward to talking about it.
Like, who's going to show up that day?
Yeah.
Who's going to show up that day? And,
Cracked.
yeah. Dude, the difference is like hundreds of thousands of dollars between
Yeah.
first and second place.
Yeah.
And you get a ring and you get the trophy and everything. Oh, that's one other thing I got to bring up.
Yeah.
They didn't get a trophy. That sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
None of them get trophies, do they?
no, none of the majors.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, they should get trophies.
I saw Simp had the trophies made
Yeah.
for them. Like
They-
his girlfriend or whatever went and
They made
got them
trophies
made.
for
yeah.
them. Yeah.
Which is
CDL.
like the CDL needs to step it
Yeah.
up.
Come on.
Because they
Give
got
them
nothing.
trophies.
They've got nothing to show for it other than
Yeah.
on
The
online.
interview.
Yeah,
They literally go into the interview and, like, that's it.
yeah,
But man, I can't even imagine like the bars with all the RØKKR fans. That must have been crazy after that win.
yeah. Oh yeah, it had been absolutely insane. Yeah, we got to see who else was other than Midnight. She was there for the RØKKR, and I don't know if Brett Diamond was there. Shout out to Brett Diamond.
Yeah,
Beast.
he looked like he was there.
Yeah, I think
He was there. A lot of RØKKR fans were there.
Yeah. So, I mean, huge shout out to that organization. Definitely one of our favorites for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, we always have a nice time when we're on Twitter. Those guys are always showing their love and appreciation for the fans and
Oh,
for
yeah.
us too.
Yeah,
And Brett Dime, he's a great guy.
yeah.
You know,
Always for the fans.
yeah, which is what we really appreciate about them because they definitely see that this is all about the fans.
Yeah.
And keeping in touch with everybody. So, I mean, congratulations to that team.
Yeah. They deserve it.
Yeah, they do deserve
Fully
it.
deserve it.
Yeah, they've got the legends on that team. They've got the legends and attach, and I mean Priestley, he's a legend too. The veterans and Mike, and then they've got their crown jewel, the rookie Standy.
The rookie.
yeah, comes in and wins.
Yeah. I'm happy for Attach. Finally, it took him a while. He hasn't been winning.
Yeah,
Like for a while. So
yeah,
I'm glad he finally like got something.
yeah, absolutely. So it's fantastic.
So those guys going into champs, like they're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
So
So we look forward to seeing how they carry this momentum
yeah,
going into champs.
yeah, and then we gotta take all their momentum and throw it into our games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And fry.
Yeah.
We lost one game last night.
What was that? Was the Yamantau game? Did we lose?
Yeah, we lost 1-3. Yeah,
Baloney.
it was really close. So
Baloney.
the rounds were close.
Yeah.
But
What are you gonna do?
well, we won't lose a game
No.
tonight.
Facts.
We will not lose a
Get
game
it going
tonight.
with that mentality.
Yeah.
You got to every time.
So, but that's all I had.
Yeah, I don't think I have much
Let's-
else we wanted to really touch on, other than just a final congrats to RØKKR and the whole
Yeah.
org.
Minnesota, I'm sure they made them happy. They brought home the
They
championship.
did. They did what they had to do.
So yeah, congrats again to Maniac, Mike Maniac, Attach, Standy, and Priesta, because those guys deserve it.
Mm-hmm. Absolute beasts.
Yeah. But I think we can wrap it up there, right?
Absolutely.
So we're on all streaming platforms: Spotify, podcast, Apple Podcast. What else? All that.
Omegle.
Omegle. What is that?
We're on Uvu.
Uvu. Oh, I remember Uvu. That
Yeah, I
was a
think
throwback.
Omegle was in there too. That was like one of those
Omegle?
things. I think it was Omegle.
Omegle.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But we're on.
We're not on those.
Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Anchor.fm/the COD Casuals.
You know the deal.
If you guys want to see all that, we're on YouTube too. Like, comment, subscribe.
Absolutely.
We're gonna start looking into getting like some VODs, a camera, so you guys can put a face
Yep. Face to the names and the voices.
Yeah. I wonder what they think. Like, who's Mike and who's Justin?
What do we look like?
Yeah.
We look like a bunch of clowns.
Yeah, well, what do you think? They're probably like, I didn't expect them to look like that.
Yeah.
Like, your voice doesn't match your face.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. That's how it is with most people.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to, once we do that, and you get to see what we look like.
Yeah. They're going to be like, oh.
Yeah, get rid of the face cams. Get rid of the face cams. Jesus Christ.
But
really?
Really? Okay. But that's been episode 25, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. You know, congrats to the RØKKR again for the 50th time or something. But those guys deserve it.
Yeah. Shocking.
But yeah, episode 25, guys. This has been the COD Casuals. I'm your host, Justin.
And I'm Mike.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Take it easy now.
Peace.